Okay, we want to do a video to put together how to use the HappiJac system. This is available on both our bumper pull and the fifth wheel. It's going to be a little taller in the fifth wheel, but there's a lot of options now that we've raised our height on the bumper pull with our HappiJac system. This is probably the most common we've seen, where you have a queen bed at the top and then you have the couches at the bottom. We want to walk through showing you how to set all these different configurations up. You can actually get 2 queen beds would be an option, or you can get just the couches. So a lot of ways to think through how do I want to configure my toy hauler when I get it. So first of all, I just want to show you, this is down, it's in the couch position. We have the legs, so this is great where I can sit on it, but this will actually fold into a bed. So when I'm going to step over here, you have the little button here, you just push that up and that makes this leg work to become the support for the bed. Now I have another section of the bed. This folds over and I'll kind of get just below that so I can pull the leg out. You could have it in this position and lay it down like that without it being the couch. But this is at night. I want to roll this into a bed as a couch. So now I have a full bed all the way across and I'm set up for there. Now I want to show you some different things as far as configuring it, setting up, so we'll go ahead and do that. So now I want to show you how to store the couches when you're going to put your toys in, pull them in and stuff. So Josh, if you would just go ahead and raise these up. One of the things as it's raising, you'll see, can you hold it for just a second? You'll see these little pins in here that flip up and down. There'll be key points that we do with these. All you do is flip them up like that. There's 4 of them, 1 on each one of the posts. So right now we're going to leave these down to allow it to raise up and not bring the bed back down. So we just want to get them up. We want to store it, get everything away. So these are all flipped kind of out, if you will. And we're just going to store the bed in this first mode. So go ahead and raise it up. So now we've raised it. We're getting all the way to the top. You'll hear it kind of just touch the bed above it. So this is one way you can store it. You can flip these legs back up so that nobody's knocking their heads on them. And this will just go up between here. So now that gets out of the way, you are able to store it that way. But one of the things you want to make sure when it's, each time when it's stored and it's going down the road, we want to make sure these pins are put in place exactly in these holes. You want all 4 of them, otherwise it can bounce out and fall down and hit the side of the wall of your trailer. So this is just one way to store it. We're going to also show it how you can store them hanging up. And this would depend on if you have a tall toy, you're going to have to store them to the side. If you have a fat toy, then you're going to have to store them up like this. So we'll show you the next phase. So go ahead and if you would, just lower it just slightly down to here. Okay, that's good. So depending on your height and your how you want to set it up, there's 4 locks here to help you move this down and store it on the wall. First thing you got to do is take these 4 pins out right here. There's 1, there's 2 on each bed. There. We got the 4 pins out. Those are for the traveling mode. I've released, there's a lock, if you look here, where it's in and out. I've released this on both sides. There's one on this side, one on the other side of the bed. And to just get some room to get in here, I just fold this out of my way a little bit. Now, make sure that these are locked right here. There's one on each side. I'm just going to double check that I got it locked on the other side. It is. So now this allows you to have more leverage to lift it up out here. There's some little pins that you'll see you kind of lift up and pull out as I'm doing that. This allows me to drop this back down in. It's going to store right there. Now I can get to this one, put this over here. Again, make sure these are locked in the position here. Gives me leverage. And I'm kind of lifting up and pulling out as I do this. And I can drop it back down. Then when I go to store them, I want to put these pins back in. There's a new spot for the pin right here. Again, we'd want to do that to all 4 of the pieces of the bed or the corners. So there's one here, one over here, and one there. So now you could travel with it this way. If you want to show Josh, you can raise these up at this point. So we can raise those up, get them out of the way as much as possible in case you have tires or something that are gonna go underneath. It'll stop when it gets as high as it can, which is about, you'll hear it click. That's it. So that's as high as it can go. You can store it going down the road this way as well. You just gotta see if your toy will fit between here and here. Those dimensions will be on our website soon. Okay, so now let's say it's time to go to bed. You wanna have this as a bed. You wanna drop the queen bed down. So we wanna show you how to do that. Again, we gotta take these pins out. We'll get these 4 pins out quickly here. Do that. So we got the 4 pins out. We're gonna make sure again that these are locked because we're gonna lift them up. This is locked on this side. It's locked on this side. So now, Josh, if you drop that down just a little bit, depends on how tall you are, how much you wanna lift this up. That's good for now. So I'm able to get out here on the end. I'm lifting up. Depends on, so we have some little hooks that we make sure get into that spot. And then just for safety's sake, I want to make sure I get these pins back in here so it doesn't drop on us. Put those on, put those in there, done that. So we'll do the other side. Again, I want to make sure these last pieces here on the side, make sure those are locked down. I'm going to lift this up, get that into bed mode. It's a little challenging sometimes. You can see I'm going to hit here. So I would suggest bringing it down a little further. Josh, if you'd bring it down. That's good enough, just so enough that we can fold this up. So I'm going to release it now so I can fold it up. Flip this over. Now this gives me space to get in there. So I can go back to this one and lift it back up. Want to make sure those click in. Put the 2 buttons back on, or the pins. We'll do that. Watch your head as you're walking through there. Put the pins back in. Now at this point is when I'm going to put my legs down as well. So again, you just push this little button, get the leg out, push the button here, get this leg out right there. Then we'll fold this back down, get it into the bed mode right now. You can kind of adjust those there and stuff. Put these legs down, this leg down. Now, it's kind of multiple different ways you could have done these steps, but to get this bed to lower, it's in a locked position. We're gonna have to flip these little pins right here. If you can zoom in on those right above the bed. This side just flips up here. So with that, the finger out, it's gonna hit up here and it'll unlock it so the top bed can come down. We'll flip this one. Now, if you will, Josh, if you will raise it all the way up. Those fingers being in and flipped in are gonna trigger the release so this bed can start coming down. You hear that? Now the whole thing will come down. You want to keep an eye on it. If for some reason one side's locked or the other, you want to make sure that it's coming down evenly. This one's working great right now, so just something to keep an eye on. We've put stops in here, so this bed will stop at the right point, and then the other beds will continue to go on down. So now you have a nice bunk bed system. One of the cool things, these lights that we've set up underneath the HappiJac, they're just a push button light. So when you're laying in bed at night, you can turn a light off right there in the HappiJac. This is going to continue on down, and now you got a nice bunk bed system. Once you see the legs hit the floor, you want to stop. That's good. Now you're set up, ready to sleep. There is some adjustment. If you look closely in here, there's, we'll kind of go over here. If you look in here, we've installed these brackets right in here. You can take those out and you can play with it higher or lower within the adjustment here of how high you want this upper bed or where you want it to stop. We put it in this kind of a standard setting each time, but you're free to change those. Just make sure it's level on all 4 posts. So now we're going to raise them back up, and that's kind of everything with the bed. So hang on for just a second. what we want to do, and just make sure you get, is when you're traveling, you want to make sure this bed is locked. So all you got to do in that scenario is flip these 4 pegs back over. If they're in like this, it's going to release. If they're in against the wall, it's going to release the bed. But when they're out like that, that allows it to lock the top bed up so you can move the sofas up and down. Also in transport, you want to lock the HappiJac bed up. So we're flipping all 4 of these right now. So now we can lock the HappiJac bed back up, and then we can use that for putting toys in. So go ahead and raise it back up. All right, it's just about to the top. You're going to hear it actually lock the top bed, the queen bed, into place. You'll hear some clicking. Pretty close here. Once you hear that, you know it's set, it's ready to go. You can lower this bed just a little bit. Go ahead and do that. And you'll see that the queen bed stays in place. So hopefully that helps. Give us a call if you got questions, but we wanted to walk through a lot of different options with our new HappiJac beds.